Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about how to do some simple but effective training with just very few targets. The targets you see behind me here are targets I've made myself. I do my own cutouts here. I work at a place where I can get large pieces of cardboard. So I take a competitive target and make a template and cut these out of it here. I've got about 30 of these cut out now. And over here is my stall mat target that you see on my website. What you're hearing around you right here is a bunch of shooting going on in a steel challenge. A lot of people having a great time over here competing in a steel challenge, so you hear a lot of shooting and a lot of ringing behind me over here, and that's what that is going on. Right here, I'm going to show you how to do some simple but very effective self-defense training in a realistic way, because if you have to use your gun, you're generally going to be using it at pretty close range. The reason I use silhouettes, you could use any kind of target to do this, but the reason I use silhouettes is because silhouettes are effective. They at least simulate the shape of a human form, and if you were having to defend yourself, these shapes would mean a whole lot insofar as how you've been training and what you would do if you had to actually use your gun doing the unthinkable. So what I want to do is show you a few ways to work with silhouettes just like these right here, and show you some ways to train very effectively with some very simple targets. First, what this will amount to is some pretty simple target shooting. 3 attackers, I'm stand in the middle, and I'm going to shoot at each one of them, just making center mass shots. The way most people would shoot if they had to defend themselves is center mass shots. This is what I'll start out with, just very simple but effective. By the way, I'm using a Handgun inside the waistband holster with a Glock 23 to do this one. Just center mass shots, just like you would shoot in most self-defense situations. What we'd all be having to do is do it quickly, getting it up and shooting at the biggest target we would have effectively. Center mass shooting. I'll show you some more now. You can do that too. There's no end to the combinations you can set up to do this. I'll show you a different one right now that will allow you to use one target, then use that target to simulate cover to shoot at the other two. Let me set it up. This setup allows me to shoot at the first target for defense, then run up and use that target to simulate cover to shoot to the other two. Just how that works. Just no limit to what you can do with just 3 targets. You can set these up at any place in here. I'm going to do a couple more, but you can set these things up in any way you want to set them up in here. Use them for cover, simulate things with them, all kinds of ways to use them. For this setup, I'll be using my Smith & Wesson Shield. It's a little small. It's a subcompact 45 that I use and carry with me more than any other gun I carry right now. And I won't be shooting as fast with this one, but I'll be shooting in a different scenario here. 2 attackers up close, one over here headed this way. Watch how it works. Next will be an up-close scenario where you have to imagine using one hand to offset somebody moving towards you while you shoot towards the other two. Watch how it works. Too often people get the idea that their gun is the end all when it comes to self-defense. A gun is actually a last choice. It's a last resort, and oftentimes it's not even going to be something you can get to. Many times if you're attacked from close range and you've got a gun in a holster, it's likely you're going to have to do something with your hands and feet to keep people away from you while you can get to your gun, or even if you can ever get to that gun during that situation. So it's a good idea to practice from time to time using one arm, or one arm this way or this way, while fending off attackers like I've got set up here. I'll show you how this works in just a second. A better scenario, or a better setup, is if you had some kind of tackle dummy that you could set up and prop up where it wouldn't move, where you could push against it, or even a martial arts weighted bag where it's got a base where you could set it up and hit that bag and shoot at the same time. I don't have that with me here, but this will simulate over here. This is somebody coming at me from close range, while these two are coming up on me also with weapons. This is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you have to fend it off. It's a good idea to practice this way. Practice sometimes using a hand at least to push it out. Imagine somebody coming at you where you're having to push out and shoot at the same time. That's what this is about. Well, these were just some of endless scenarios that you could set up. These are some of endless scenarios you could set up. You don't have to have a lot of targets material. You don't have to have a lot of elaborate equipment to train effectively. If you've got limited space and limited finances, and you can't spend a whole lot, and you don't have a whole lot of time to do this, just PVC pipe and cardboard and some staples will take care of a whole lot of your target needs. You can make silhouettes, you can make just about any kind of target you need to make out of them, and the scenarios you can set up for them are endless. I hope these few that I set up out here help you and will give you some ideas for your own targets and your own training. I'll see you soon.